96.7 KCAL rocks. It is your Monday, and it is time to talk some sports with our guy Pep. After a huge weekend, Pep, what's going on?
Yeah, man, what a great weekend for sports. So we're going to get to a bunch of NFL and some college football as well. But let's start with the Major League Baseball playoffs. Here's what we know, Patrick, going into this Monday morning. The regular season is almost finished. Almost, I say, because the Dodgers have already locked up the number one seed in the National League West. So the run to the World Series will go through the City of Angels. We know that. They will have a first-round bye. But the Mets and the Braves have a doubleheader today. And here's the deal. There's two National League playoff spots still on the line. The Mets, the Braves, who are going head-to-head, and also the Arizona Diamondbacks are still in the mix. So if the Mets and the Braves split, then they both go in to the playoffs. If one of them wins both games, then that team will go in, and then Arizona will also go in. So there's actually quite a bit on the line on this I guess you call it the final day of the regular season, although this is the only doubleheader taking place today.
I don't know why I feel like this way. I just feel like in these situations, the Braves always seem to never die. I guess we'll see what happens. And I know that they've lost their best player twice, but for some reason, the Braves just replace him with another great player. They seem to always work out in their way. I'm interested to see how this does work out because the Mets always seem to get meted, and then the Braves seem to win.
Yeah, listen, I for some reason I've been a Mets fan my whole life, and I'm not even really sure why. I was a big Darryl Strawberry guy, but you're right. They always seem to be like the Cleveland Browns or something, where they always seem to brown it up. Like they always find a way to lose it, and the Braves have always been their nemesis. So if it's appropriate, it's these two teams fighting for a playoff spot, or like I said, there's a chance that they could both go in if they split the doubleheader. Whoever wins the first game, they're already going to the playoffs. They already know it. So do they take their foot off the gas in the second game of the doubleheader? And they're like, all right, well, we're already in. We don't care what happens in the second game. So there's a lot of possibilities here.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could happen. So anyways, it's going to be a lot of fun. Last day of baseball in the regular season. Like I said, the Dodgers are the number one seed in the National League. They'll get a first-round bye. They could potentially see the Padres in the second round if things line up that way, because they could if the Padres advance. And here's the final line on Shohei Ohtani: 54 home runs, 59 stolen bases, 130 RBI. He nearly had the triple crown because he just got beat out for the National League batting crown by Luis Arraez of the Padres. So he almost had a clean sweep. One of the greatest seasons we've ever seen, period, Patrick.
Yes, and even with the stolen bases, one of my favorite was where he wanted the double steal, and he pushed Austin Barnes to get two stolen bases because he wanted to get stolen bases, and Austin, the Riverside kid, pulled it off.
Austin Barnes, good on him, right? The Riverside Poly kids. So, yeah, so there you go. So Shohei Ohtani, historic season. Dodgers are the number one seed, and lots to still play for on this final day of the regular season for the Mets and Braves. Got to get to some football, Patrick. We'll start with the NFL. The Chargers had the Chiefs on the ropes. They had them where they wanted. They were up 10-zip. And, of course, Kansas City finds a way. And that's the thing. That's kind of been their moniker, right? If you let them hang around, they're going to win the game in the end. And that's exactly what the LA Chargers let them do. They let them hang around, and they won 17-10. It wasn't pretty, but they still won.
They did, and the Chiefs lose their top receiver, Rice.
Yeah.
They fear he has a torn ACL. A lot of people are letting Patrick Mahomes slide here. He's the one who took out his own player's knee after an interception, and no one's saying anything about it, but that's what happened, and so they lose another weapon. So it could be tough on the Chiefs. They're having trouble with Kelsey, getting him going. Xavier Worthy is still young, but they still seem to win.
Yeah, yet they're 4-0, right? I feel like, man, because of this and because of that, and they should be doing this, yet they're 4-0. They just continue to win. So we're on course for a Kansas City versus Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl right now, because the Vikings won again. They're both 4-0. You're saying Seattle Seahawks could go to 4-0 tonight, but those, talking about undefeated teams right now in the NFL.
Yes, they finally get a real test here in Detroit. So we'll know more after this game. I keep telling my boys because they're like, we're 3-0. I'm like, we haven't really played anyone yet, you guys. The true test is tonight. against a very good Detroit team at home on Monday night. Somehow we beat them last year. I don't know how we did it. So I kind of feel like they're going to have some revenge on us, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the Lions should be one of the better teams in the NFL again this season, and beating them in Detroit would be huge, especially in front of a national audience, which I should mention, it is another Monday Night Football doubleheader. We've got the Titans versus the Dolphins in the first game, and then your Seahawks, Patrick, taking on the Detroit Lions, which is probably, the Titans versus Dolphins is kind of the appetizer, and Seahawks versus Lions is the main course tonight.
The real game. I agree.
All right, but back to some Sunday action. The Rams losing on the road at the Chicago Bears, 24-18. The Rams just don't look like they have it together. How they beat the 49ers last week, I'm not sure. But they did, and I gave them kudos, credit to the Rams. They found a way to win. But, man, they sure did not look like the same team against a mediocre Bears squad.
Yeah, we know the 49ers are a very good squad, but, I guess it's like fighting your brother or whatever. You know each other so well. But, yeah. They just don't they have tons of injuries. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of their weapons are down. However, no Aaron Donald, I feel like, is really starting to show up. And it's kind of a combination of both of those. It's not working out as well, which happens in the NFL. So brutal.
Yeah, because really, when you look at this Rams team, if they're going to win, Matthew Stafford is literally going to have to carry them on his back. That's the only way they're going to win. They're missing so many guys. I know they're running the football pretty well. Kyron Williams is doing pretty well running. Yeah. But yeah, Matthew Stafford's going to have he needs to have some crazy games because that's the only chance they have to win. I mean, Chicago, their offense stinks. Caleb Williams, the number one pick, has really done nothing this season, and they still scored 24 points on the Rams. I know they got some help from their defense, but still, Matthew Stafford's going to have some crazy. If Puka Nakua's out, Cooper Kupp's out, I could keep going, but they're just not getting it done right now.
It reminds me of LeBron with the Lakers. It's like Stafford just has to do too much to get a win.
Yeah.
And he can't. He's older. He's very good, but he needs some help.
He needs something. Yeah, I think it might be Jekyll and Hyde all season long. You beat a 49ers team, and then you turn around and lose to a Bears team, which you think, the Rams should win that game. I mean, if they were completely healthy, yeah, of course. But even with, down some guys, I think they should still win that game. But NFL, man, week to week, you just never know.
Yeah, it is up and down.
All right, one more NFL note. This is a shout out to our guy, Jaden Daniels. We just talked about Caleb Williams, the number one pick, Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner, and the number 2 overall pick to the Washington Commanders. Patrick, one of the surprises this season, I know Minnesota's 4-0. People are like, what the heck? The Vikings are undefeated? But the Washington Commanders are now 3-1, and Jaden Daniels has emerged as the guy, the rookie in this year's class of the NFL draft, man. He continues to get it done. A huge blowout win on the road at the Arizona Cardinals, and Jaden was doing it, again, dual threat, through the air and on the ground, man. Huge game against the Cards.
He looks absolutely incredible, and I mean, he's matching all kinds of records through his first 4 games, and his completion percentage is 83%.
Yes.
It's absolutely insane, and it's not dink and dunk. He's throwing it downfield. Yeah,
and they're saying through the first 4 games of the season to be at around 82, 83% completion percentage. I mean, we're talking about guys like, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, some of the all-time greats. That's what his name is next to right now. So it's man, I'm so happy for him. It's just crazy he's having such a great start to his NFL career.
And I mean, I think it's even more impressive because Tom Brady is dink and dunk. The reason his completion percentage was so high is a lot of those passes were, 4 or 5 feet long. These are real passes, dude. I'm very impressed with Jaden.
Hey, go downfield, young man. Go deep.
Yep.
Right? So,
yep.
Yeah, congrats to Jaden Daniels. And finally, some college football as we wrap things up. Patrick, USC picking up its first ever Big Ten win. Remember, USC's a Big Ten school now, and they beat the Wisconsin Badgers. Sounds more like maybe like a Rose Bowl back in the day. But they won 38-21. So USC, in the latest AP poll that came out on Sunday evening, they're number 11 in the country as you try to get a gauge of what that 12-team national playoff is going to look like at the end of the season. So right now USC would be in that playoff, presumably, even though we haven't seen the top 12 officially, but the AP poll has them at number 11 in the country.
Yep, they did what they were supposed to do. I think they kind of thought, the Wisconsin's down a little bit. Nevertheless, still a Big Ten team, and they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, you can't lose these games. Wisconsin is down. You're at home. You got to win these games. So they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And we also have a new number one team in the country, but not a surprise because they ran the table for a long, long time. Alabama, the Crimson Tide, back at number one after beating Georgia 41-34. So we got Alabama on top, followed by Texas and Ohio State. And I think Georgia slipped to like number 5. So they're still way up there. But Alabama back on top, just like they used to be, Patrick.
I think it's just like the thought, at least right now. We'll see how the season goes. As you know, losing Nick Saban felt like it was going to be very, very tough. But Kalen DeBoer comes in. Are they even better is what they're saying. Who knows, man? Because a lot of kids transferred out. People don't remember that. Yes, some of these are Saban's players. But when Nick Saban left, a lot of players transferred out. So, I mean, they look very legit.
Yeah. The fact that Kalen DeBoer was able to get the Washington Huskies undefeated into a national championship game against Michigan. I know Washington had some first round NFL draft picks, but still to get the Washington Huskies to a national championship game with all the other great teams out there, he can coach. He can flat out coach, and I think he's proven it now with the Tide.
Man, can't wait to see what happens. On Thursday, we'll know a lot more, as we always do when we check in with our guy, Pep. Pep, tell him how to get your stuff.
What's the deal with the baseball playoffs? We're going to find out after today.
Right.
We'll talk about it more later in the week. You can always get my stuff on Inland Sports, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the Inland Sports YouTube channel. Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, Pep.